Hey Vsauce, Jamie here. What is a drag path? It is a question I'm seeing pop up a lot through TikTok, and it's often fascinating what people think it means. I mean, take it from a 21 Pilots fan who's seen them 9 times throughout 10 years. Can you believe a pufferfish got popular? A pufferfish. Why drag path for a pufferfish? Could it be the path that it leaves behind on the seafloor? Nah, that'd be too obvious. Why is it leaving like that on the ground? Oh, so it's about that. See, 21 Pilots had an entire lore that's tied up to the song, and it spanned around 10 years and 5 records. Buckle up, folks, because this is going to be like a Cliff Notes version, so I'm going to do my best to narrow it down. From Blurry Face all the way to Breach, the story follows a character named Clancy, a citizen in a cemented dystopia city called Dima. See, Dima is covered... See, Dima is governed by the 9 bishops, and their own mission is to spread a hijacked religion named Vialism. The goal of this religion is to take your own life, and in doing so, the bishops reward you with this neon gravestone. It's essentially like a participation trophy. You know, the bishops are just like, hey, thank you for believing our gaslighting techniques. So you actually did it. You actually, killed yourself. So good job. But in the lore, it is a lifeless tombstone that's like, it lingers and leaves a reminder to the citizens. Essentially, it's a reminder that you can leave a legacy behind, but it's going to be through harm. You see, Clancy's not that happy about living in Dima, so he starts questioning things. He tries to leave the city, but he gets dragged back by the main bishop, Nico. Clancy does this over and over and over again. And over and over and over. However, there are people outside of Dima that have successfully made it out. They are called the Bandidos. Rallied by a man named the Torchbearer, they seek after escaped citizens and guide them through the outskirts of the city that is also known as Trench. Trench is very difficult to navigate by yourself, so think of the Bandidos as like a support group for a lot of the Dima citizens that successfully made it out of the city. During one of Clancy's successful attempts, he manages to make it outside, but he gets lost into the process. Nico catches up to him, and despite all of the Bandidos' efforts, they watch as Clancy gets dragged back again, bro. What he has to lock in. Unfortunately, the story does take place in real time, so as much as I do want to give the typical 4-hour spiel that I gave to my friends explaining the Dima storyline, we just gotta jump to the final arc of the story of why drag path is so heavily connected to the storyline. Towards the final arc of the story, Clancy literally gets turned into a symbol of hope. He gets turned into this hero. He becomes an icon for the citizens to look up and rebel against the bishops. He gains a new ability that only the bishops can obtain, and once he realizes that, he sees that he's the only thing that can take them down. But yet the power, the voices, the power, it starts to get into his brain, you see. During a massive ambush from one of the Bandidos, Clancy sneaks his way into Dima, and he goes after all the bishops. He manages to kill all of them, yet one is missing. It's Nico. And then out of nowhere, a surprise attack happens, and then Nico starts to corrupt Clancy into becoming a new bishop. But then Clancy refuses, and then with Nico gone, the cycle is over. Until Clancy picks up a robe, he gives it to the Bandidos and even the Torchbearer. He refuses, but Clancy has become the new leader of the city. The Torchbearer states that the real Clancy is out there, and the cycle will start again. Wait, hold on, so where the fuck does drag path fit all of this? A lot of the first lyrics are echoes to the entire events of the Dima storyline. The first verse calls back to this point where Clancy is facing Nico in Trench and how no one was there to help him. But I mean, if you looked up, you know, there were people there to help him. However, there was a clue, the flower on the river, and when the banditos threw the petals, it was a sign for Clancy to run. Yet the devil, aka Nico, got to him, aka he tried his hands at drowning me. As we get to the next verse, it's now at that point when the banditos are making their way back to the city and the torchbearer found him. When the chorus starts playing for the first time, it's kind of like a plea from Clancy to the torchbearer to find him after Nico infiltrates the bandito camp and takes him back to Dima. When we get to the second half of the song, I like to think that even though the band wasn't adding much to the song verse-wise, that final half, that final section, or that final stretch perfectly builds up that journey that Clancy went through, only to end up in the same spot as he was in the end. He ends up in the same spot where the devil was. When comparing the way how the choruses are sung, the second version sounds more like a cry for help that's reaching to no one. Clancy is alone in the tower. Now he's stuck in a role and has to play as a bishop and let the cycle start over again. But not all hope is lost. The final 3 lines suggest that there is a happy ending to all of this. Maybe in the future or soon after, no one knows. But it feels like a message of optimism despite everything that Clancy went through. The torchbearer finally found him. The drag path that he left behind were letters that he signed personally, which we see here as torchbearer is cleaning up after the battle that happened in the city. Hi, future Jamie here. At the time of editing this video, 21 Pilots officially said they're going to release Drag Path, and there's going to be a music video with it, and they're going to perform it live. So everything that I said up to this point is still real.
We're going to release it with a slightly different edit to it. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, there's a music video that comes out with it that I absolutely adore. Working on maybe playing this song live this year. So.
Yeah, we finally like the song now.
The lore ended. Clancy is a bishop, and Drag Path, the song itself, is an epilogue where far into the future, the Nova Bishop, yes, that's a thing, and you want to know how? Through capitalism. Yes, capitalism is the way, yeah, capitalism. So I don't know what's going to happen, but my point still stands. The song Drag Path is a cry from Clancy as a bishop, and he left all of this evidence, all the letters, all the clues for the torchbearer to find him back into that tower, and he did. Again, it's a hopeful epilogue, but realistically, the ending is pretty, melancholy. It's like, oh, he's kind of survived, but it's whatever. Crazy, right? Like, this song is an epilogue for fans who have stuck with the lore since its inception. I like to think this is like the tip of the iceberg of what the storyline meant, the symbols, the metaphors, all that stuff, and how long it really took to complete the journey. But what if I told you that wasn't the real Drag Path? Back in 2018, a fan noticed something happened at the band's store website. See, they had these videos that would play like a trip down memory lane, like rose-tinted glasses. Like, guys, remember this? Remember this? Oh, Jesus Christ, some analog horror shit going on here. See, when fans finally typed in the URL, they were kind of greeted with this message. It was an error message, but fans within like, I think 4 hours figured out that, hey, these numbers mean something. Oh my god. What? There's so much going on. After successfully typing in the entire URL with the violation code, fans were greeted with a shit ton of letters, pictures, badges, something, blah, blah, blah. Really, this was the start of the Drag Path itself. This was like a scavenger hunt. There was so much stuff that we had to unpack at the time. Who is Clancy? What is Dima? Who are these banditos? What is a failed perimeter escape? Why is the violation code the same numbers as the patterns from the blurry face thing? Why is the map of Dima look eerily similar to the circles from the blurry face cover? It was literally a rabbit hole, but this was the band officially confirming we're back, because a year before they were in a hiatus, and the way they teased the hiatus probably is the worst way, if I'm being honest, the worst way you could have done it. So while we were going down this rabbit hole and like waiting for official news about this album coming out, the letters Clancy's letters were being dropped in real time. These early letters are Clancy questioning about his existence in Dima and Dima as a whole, and why it's even up in the first place, and how he wants to get out. He was always wanting to leave the city, but he just gets dragged back into it, and he can't explain why he can't escape. In July of 2018, the band finally announced that Trench is coming out, and a lot of the buildup was like torches and more letters about how Clancy is teaming up with someone or something to cause a mass destruction or mass disturbance within the city of Dima to get the bishop's attentions. When Jumpsuit came out, there was letters that came afterwards about how Clancy had this out-of-body experience and how he was watching the events happen unfold. Confusing, I know, yeah, but later on we found out that the continent of Trench, this entire landscape, is a weird phenomenon. Like, people have stated, like, if we had out-of-body experiences, Clancy was not the only one. It's just a weird place that they cannot understand. And then when Nico and the Niners came out, there was, again, more updates about the letters and all that. Levitate comes out, and there was another letter that came out about how Clancy was brought up by this bishop named Keons. And Keons is actually very important later on into the story. Speaking of later on the story, in April of 2021, the website was getting redacted. It was getting deleted, quote-unquote, in real time. Really, someone figured out the math. I don't know how. Someone figured out the math that it was going to take 3 days for this website to be finally updated. And when the quote-unquote deletion of the letters happened, we got this error code again. But people, I don't know how. People found out if you select a certain letter, you found the start of the Dima propaganda with Scaled and Icy. So with Scaled and Icy, they treated Dima.org as like the propaganda type website about like, oh, we have a new album coming out. The real thing was like the band going like, hey, we have a new album coming out. But the in-universe thing was like Clancy is being forced to make a propaganda album for the bishops, for the Dima citizens, about how can I say this without YouTube flagging it? How doing gnarly tricks that could result in ending your life is awesome. That technically worked. Then there wasn't much happening throughout the Scaled and Icy era, other than the fact that after the live stream experience, Clancy is put into the submarine, and the submarine gets crashed by a dragon. Yes, this is just the start of it. Yes, a dragon crashes the submarine. Don't ask me anything about the dragon. So Clancy's bishop, Keons, he's the one that saved Clancy and the Torchbearer from, I don't know, he just got them out of the ship. And then they washed up on shore for this island called Voldsoy. From here, this was like the biggest lore drop for us to dive into. This is where psychokinesis comes into play. Yep, I said it earlier, the power that Clancy was able to do to take down the bishops came from these guys. Their antlers have psychokinesis. I realize speaking this out loud, telling the lore out loud, doesn't make any sense. Anyways, when Clancy finds out that he has this power, he finally writes down about how he is going to save everyone in Dima, how we're going to get this city burned to the ground. Why do I have a cease and desist letter from the bishops? In February of 2024, people actually got these letters from the bishops. Okay, they didn't get it from the bishops. You know what I mean? The band in universe type thing, the bishops sent letters to the fans and were like, hey, how did you get access to Dima.org? You're not supposed to see that. We redacted those for a reason. There's nothing suspicious going on with these files. You should not be seeing this at all. So it seems that the drag path that Clancy left behind on the Dima.org website got to so many people that the bishops were kind of freaking out, and they're like, how the heck do you know about this? When Overcompensate finally came out, Dima.org does not get updated at all. After this music video, the website just completely just went AWOL. It never updated, and it's been almost 2 years since this last letter was updated. And even then, with the physical mailed letters, they stated that the evidence that Clancy left behind are like the abridged version. These are not the official writings that Clancy wrote himself. You would notice that in these letters it said signed by Clancy, but it's not the actual signature that Clancy would do to like end endpoint his letters or whatever. Basically, like, signed the letters that it was actually him writing it. So these 3 letters are like the Dima abstracted versions of it. And honestly, like, ever since, like, again, the website has not been updated, but that is the real drag path. That's why it's called a drag path. The drag path is Clancy's letters. It is the letters that he left behind for other banditos, other Dima residents, or just us, the fans, to get invested into this world, or also understand what the storyline is supposed to represent. I feel like diving into this in your own time and trying to understand this, again, drag path that Clancy left behind is so rewarding to fully understand and grasp it. I know it was stupid saying about a dragon, a psychokinesis antler, bishops ruling a city, 9 bishops, hijack religion, whatever. When you finally read the letters and understand what the band is trying to tell with this 10-year storyline, that's something that I wish I could experience the first time. Again, it's just fun seeing a lot of people give their interpretations of the song, and I feel like I kind of want to know what you guys think what this song is supposed to represent. I love seeing the different interpretations from as a fan, again, for 10 years, I love seeing how other people want to talk about it. I should do a 4-hour stream about the lore, huh?